Hello, it's Tom exploring the vast galaxy of Elite Dangerous on PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One and PC. Coming from Frontier Developments, it continues a very proud lineage of space simulation games. Of course, the idea began with the vector-based graphics of the original Elite in 1984 and evolved a decade later with the polygonal 3D and Gurad shading in Frontier First Encounters. Fast forward to today, and Elite Dangerous again lets you loose in a colossal 1-to-1 scale version of the Milky Way. You pilot spacecraft, trade and engage in combat, but for the first time it's across a persistent online space as well. Clearly though, the Cobra engine behind Elite Dangerous has different advantages depending on which version you play. Okay, let's look at image quality first, which turns up a surprising twist. Basically, no matter which console you use, Elite Dangerous always runs at a native 1920 by 1080. So that means you get a straight 1080p on everything from a standard PS4 to the more powerful PS4 Pro, and even on Xbox One where you'd usually expect the next step down at 900p. It's worth noting PS4 Pro actually has two modes, a menu toggle for quality and performance, which I'll cover in a bit. But again, no matter which of these you pick on PS4 Pro, the game still runs at 1080p, and there's no 4K support here at launch. We have parity in resolution then, but there is at least a difference in visual settings between them. Now, it's difficult getting exact matching footage in such a huge sprawling game. Even so, Elite Dangerous's training missions give a great sample of how the engine's pushed on each platform, with matching scenarios I can use to test. First up, I can confirm PS4 Pro's performance mode is identical to what you get on a standard PS4. The advantage is it runs at the same settings with a higher frame rate. So with that in mind, here's what you get on PS4 or Pro in performance mode versus Xbox One. And really there's not a huge gap between them. One thing that does stand out though is terrain detail quality. Let's use this SRV mission as an example. Shadow placement is randomized due to the time of day, but you get the idea. Looking towards the distance, you get a more defined shape on PS4's terrain compared to Xbox One's simplified version. The base PS4 hardware results are a step up overall, and gives results similar to PS4 Pro and PC in this respect. It's only Xbox One that's really left behind on this front. Looking elsewhere, and it's a surprise to find an advantage on Xbox One. Up close, there's a difference in post-process anti-aliasing quality between them, and Xbox One appears to use equivalent to PC's SMAA setting. It's the top preset available on PC, but PS4 and PS4 Pro in performance mode instead produce blurrier results, in line with the lower grade FXAA setting. Look close here and you can see the impact of that. Texturing on PS4 machines have a slight blur by comparison to Xbox One. The trade-off is FXAA does a slightly better job of reducing the sawtooth edges across space stations, but at the cost of image clarity in general. Again, SMAA is the preferred method here. For the rest, PS4 and Xbox One are very close indeed. Shadow quality is matched for example, but on the other hand you have object draw distance advantages on Sony's hardware. A quick zoom in at the Roman X Folly space station, there are boxes missing on Xbox One in the distance here, which we do get on PS4. On balance though, PS4 does have the edge in pushing high quality visual settings. It's possible there's more going on behind the hood too, if we dig deeper, but the general impression is most differences are very difficult to pick out. There's a catch to all of this though. Frame rates are not what you'd expect between the two. On the positive side, both PS4 and Xbox One make 60fps a target, and with the latest patch 1.3 installed, everything is V-synced as well. The problem? Well, check this out. On more complex space stations with lots of geometry, frame rates buckle pretty hard on both machines. The fact is, Xbox One is also consistently in the lead in performance, and with a different handling of VSync too. On PS4, a drop below 60fps can often just cue a hard lock to 30fps, a sign of a double buffer form of VSync that caps to 30. But on Xbox One, the characteristics are more in line with triple buffering, meaning that frame rate wavers up and down the graph as it likes. At 40fps on Xbox One and a hard cap to 30 on PS4 under stress points, Elite Dangerous is falling very short of that 60Hz goal. By the game's nature, you'll at least hit 60 often enough while travelling through space, where often the most the game has to render is a canvas of stars and a few planets. In fact, dogfighting in space runs more or less as it should, only hiccuping occasionally from that target. But when you actually land on any planet, the story changes. Neither machine really holds up. The output here is again a hard lock 30 on PS4 and between 30 to 50fps on Xbox One. Given the base PS4 has a binary switch between 30 and 62, it makes it hard to tell where performance would be using the triple buffer method on Xbox One. Either way, and we've said this before, an optional 30 FPS toggle might have been a better bet all round here for both cases. The more exciting upgrade though really is on PS4 Pro. Again, here's the toggle between the two modes. And to be clear, the performance mode offers exactly the same settings as a regular PS4, but using that extra GPU power to push closer to 60 FPS. If you want to push the visuals out a bit though, the quality mode changes everything. Just about every setting is dialed up, from level of detail, effects and shadow quality, the addition of ambient occlusion, higher grade depth of field and much more. In fact, the anti-aliasing gets a boost too, going from the FXAA we have on the performance mode to the SMAA we have on PC and Xbox One. The real standout upgrade though is in terrain detail. PS4 Pro is much closer to PC's top settings with quality mode selected and with texture filtering improved as well to make planet surfaces clearer into the distance. Next to the performance mode or a regular PS4, there's more definition to the landscape and texture details just pop, even at range. PS4 Pro looks infinitely better this way. The disappointment though is it's still all viewed through a native 1080p window, and as yet neither 4K or even high dynamic range are supported yet. So in summary, if you want visuals closer to PC, you do have an option on PS4 Pro, but inevitably this doesn't come for free, and for frame rates you're looking at a very stark difference between the two PS4 Pro modes. With performance mode selected, that line does a reasonable job of sticking to 60 FPS. The only area where this really struggles is while flying close to a planet's surface, putting you at the 50 FPS mark. Generally speaking though, it's a marked improvement over the quality mode, which as you can see would have benefited massively from just being locked to 30 FPS. Again, a double buffer style of VSync is used on PS4 Pro, but because the performance mode flies so high, it rarely needs to resort to it. The quality mode, on the other hand, plays out much like a regular PS4, and for the stress points you're looking at a fixed 30 FPS experience. It's not ideal, though whether the visual upgrades are worth cleaving that frame rate in half is at least up to the user. For me personally, I played Elite Dangerous with the quality mode enabled for the first few hours, just to initially enjoy the visuals at their best. But for the longer term play, I did swap it back to the smoother performance mode to generally help with the feel of combat and controlling the game. As ever, your mileage may vary though. For a final comparison then, here's PS4 Pro Side-by-Side with the regular PS4 and Xbox One. We have it in the best case here, using the performance mode to get the best frame rates we can. Anyone wanting to squeeze 60 FPS from the console version, this is the best way to go about it. Anyway, I'll leave it there. A mixed bag on all formats, and outside of PC, it's really a matter of picking the compromise you can accept. If you did find this comparison useful in any way, please let me know with a like or subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching.